It's time to gather around the radio for another episode of Comic.Church. Hosted by Pastor Drew, the Fairy Godbro, and the Reverend Sith Lord himself, Jesse Stay, and the Monsignor of Marvel, Sean Ray. Broadcasting live from the K-Talk Studios, KBJA 1640 AM, and streaming live with video on Facebook. And now, Comic.Church.
Hello, and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. Nice.
I'm feeling the summer vibe, just as summer's about to end here.
It better not end. It just began.
But yeah, is it about to end? Because it took
My
so
kids
long
are all
get
going
here.
to school in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, school. I've been going school shopping with my kids. That's always fun. Last night we sat in the dressing room for like 2 hours trying clothes on.
I try to order online whenever I can, and it's hard with kids because they all, especially the older kids, they're all picky and have the things that they want, and you can't just say, "Hey, just." I'm trying to say, "Hey, go on Amazon, find something you like, and send me a link." And they won't do it.
But both of my kids are like right in between sizes. Like my daughter's like right in between sizes.
Mm-hmm.
So like each different type of clothing, we got to try this on just because they're different sizing, and
Oh yeah,
it's hard to find clothes.
They change sizes every year. I use Christmas for that. Christmas is when I've started adding. I've got my two younger daughters, age 4 and 6.
Yeah.
My 4-year-old inherits all of her big sister's clothes, and then my 6-year-old, she gets all the new clothes. So every Christmas, I'll up 1 year of clothing for her.
Well, it's my daughter's to the point where she's fitting into my son's clothing because she's at to the point where she's going to have her growth spurt, and he, he's going into middle school, and like females will grow a little bit more than males around that time. And
Yeah.
So it's funny. All the girls are taller and bigger, and then they stop.
And we're in Leo season right now, which is my time. So I'm kind of excited. I'm not. I don't really buy the whole horoscope thing myself, but I think there's something to do with Leo season though. There's something in the air, and it fits in with me. So
what is the Leo season?
It's what's the first date? My birthday's August 14th. So it's beginning of August through not quite end of August. It's like end of July through not quite end of August, if I recall. I'd have to look up the dates, but
I'm not into the Yog or the the star constellation, all that kind of stuff.
I just know my sign, and I know it works for me.
Personalities pretty well.
It works for me.
Does. It's
and
crazy.
It was funny. My divorce and everything, without going into details on that, but it happened all around the solar eclipse on my wedding anniversary. The solar eclipse happened on my wedding anniversary during the time of Leo.
Oh, really?
It was really freaky.
Yeah.
It was like everything. It was like a whole new turning of a leaf, and I was like, at that point, I had to look at the horoscope, and it was all about turning a leaf and starting new for the Leos and everything. It was just perfect for me.
I even saw just barely people were posting like safe from the red moon something or other.
It was a black moon.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it was a black moon.
I have no idea what that was.
Perseid's meteor shower happens during this time. In fact, right on my birthday every year is Perseid's meteor shower.
So much.
I'm a freak of nature here.
See, we need that spaceport to get out there.
Supernatural in me.
Yeah, we do need that. Last week we had Zach Moses, who we lovingly refer to as a Governor Spaceport. But one of his campaign planks is about building a spaceport out in the West Desert.
I think
modern day Tony Stark, kind of what he didn't like the name Tony Stark, but
no, he chose
he
that.
thought he was, but then I told him, I'm like, actually, I think you're more of a Forge from the X-Men.
Okay.
And he's like, I didn't even know about these characters. So
yeah,
I mean, because the technology and upgrading so much, I think that would help us a lot, especially.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on our Facebook. It's showing broadcast interrupted, and also you saw me futzing around on my computer. I forgot to hit record. So
it's showing for me. So
it's showing. Okay,
I think it's playing.
Okay.
In fact, we have a few. I've got. I saw my friend Austin. Actually, he's a second cousin. Austin Beckstrom started watching. And Angela Larson says Leo is July 22nd to August 22nd. We do have watchers. They are watching.
That's
online,
a long time.
So.
Yeah, if you have any comments, we're going to be talking about Star Wars, and we're going to have comments. If you have anything or any questions, please feel free to write them down. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, anywhere that social media or podcasting that you can go to.
And if you're listening to the old-fashioned AM waves, you can find us. We're broadcasting live on Facebook. It's really easy to find us. Go to a website, www.petertingle.org. And that will take you right to our
yell
Facebook
at us there
Live.
for not taking phone calls.
Yeah, so we've for those listening, we've had to unplug the telephone line because we have a fourth guest in the studio with us today, and we needed the line. So, would you like to introduce our guest?
Yeah. So our guest today is Megan Hammond. She's pretty awesome here in the Valley. She's a movie star or TV star.
I'm not a movie star.
You've been in TV shows, and she actually produced Shadows of the Force, a fan-made Star Wars film. Tell us a little bit
about yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Megan. I was asked by Sean to come on the show today, having a ball.
Yeah.
And I just really like Star Wars. I made the film.
Well, who doesn't?
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you don't like Star Wars, you're wrong.
Exactly.
Like,
there's no between.
It's a black and white issue.
It's so weird. I still find people that have not seen it. And I'm like, how? And they're like,
how is that possible?
Those are the people that you have fun with, and you have to film them having their first reaction to Star Wars because you don't get that very often.
Yeah.
Right. No, I started watching the films when I was like 3 because my dad had all of the old like VHS tapes.
Oh, yes.
We had all of the classics on there. And I remember we were watching Revenge of the Sith. And I just remember like Anakin dying and like he didn't die. But like he almost dies anyway. And like that was like the most memorable. And then 3 years ago I came out of The Last Jedi and I really, really, really like that movie. And I know a lot of people don't, but I like it. And
I thought it was great.
Yeah, I thought it was good too.
I like the first 3 films too, though. The 1, 2, and 3, not first 3. The 1, 2, and episodes 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
The 2. So I'm a little weird that way.
Well, the thing is, you kind of got to look at it. It's hard because I know they originated in the 77, 80, and 83, and finances were a little different. But looking at the
year I was
budget,
born, by the way.
I know 83 was the year I was born, so it's the best Star Wars to me.
77 was mine. So,
but looking at some of the highest grossing movies and everything, and their Star Wars they're up there. They're up there as some of the highest grossing movies.
It's truly an epic of modern day proportion that future generations will see, like the Iliad and Odyssey and other things. It tells so many different stories in different ways in a beautiful format of literature that across all of the canons. So it's something that you can't ignore, especially in our comic book world.
Well, and it's so great. I mean, to look at a person like George Lucas, kicked out of film school and everything, and just wanted to make his own. I mean, denied so many times, and decided, what, I'm gonna do this on my own. Basically, kind of what Megan did, and created their own movie, their own story, and look what it has done to George Lucas now. I mean, we have so much to thank because of what he didn't get pushed away and didn't quit. So, I mean,
he didn't quit. He just sold it off to Disney.
That's what I was going to say. Got kicked out of his position, made a ton of money on
for Scrooge McDuck size portion
$4
of
billion
money. Yeah.
But I mean,
and then he made Jar Jar. And put a big. So I've been to Lucasfilm, and there's a big Jar Jar in carbonites thing in his office.
Oh no!
That George Lucas got as a gift, and he liked so much he had to put up in his office. I have pictures of it somewhere on my profile, cool. My Facebook profile.
Have you seen the stickers that you could put on your refrigerator that look like Han Solo and carbonite? And
oh yeah,
makes your fridge look like
those are so
carbonite.
Cool.
I've always wanted one of those.
Yeah, they're kind of expensive, but.
Since he sold out to Disney.
Well, he sold it out to $4 billion. Yeah, he still has some, not say or do or things, but he even donated a lot of that money to the School of Board of Education in California.
Yeah.
So a lot of that went to education and everything in California.
that is really cool because let's be real, having that much money, like. If you keep it all for yourself, you're just a dirty, dirty person. Like, no one needs that much money. Like, especially when there's such scarcity with money these days. Like, you don't need to hoard that much money. Like, go out, build a school, go out and, do something nice for other people.
There is so
yourself.
Much you can do. You couldn't even spend that money in your lifetime. Your kids couldn't spend that money in their lifetime. And it's not like he has a horde of children.
Yeah.
I think he has like 2 or 3
I don't even
kids.
He's got a few. Not as much as me.
Nobody.
No one has the Stay Clan size a family. So we're headed to commercial break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the horrible things that have been going on in the last 24 hours, and we're going to frame it in the construct of Star Wars. We're going to compare some of it to the First Order, white nationalism, terrorism, and such. I wish we didn't have to talk about it, but I think
there's some lessons learned from the comic book universe as we talk about this too.
That's how we can address and fix this. So we're going to be talking about this and a whole lot more. Plus, Megan, we're going to be talking about your fan film coming back right after this commercial break.
This is Pastor Drew, the Fairy God Bro. The Comic.Church pastors and I, we're looking to take Comic.Church to the next level. But we need sponsors who support our vision and our mission to achieve that trajectory. If you or your company would be interested in being our sponsor for our Sanctum of Spirituality, please reach out to us, either through our Facebook page, Comic.Church, or through our website, comicchurch.org. Come on now, who wants to be our Bruce Wayne sugar daddy?
Stay away from religious topics, not here on K-Talk. Listen each Sunday evening at 7 p.m. to The Interpreter Show for fascinating religious discussions, hot debates, and the latest in religious scholarship, archaeology, and ancient documents. Whether you're Catholic, Mormon, Protestant, agnostic, and atheist, or something else, you'll want to listen to The Interpreter Show Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. here on K-Talk. You gotta hear it.
America is built and based on liberties and freedoms. Liberty HealthShare brings that to healthcare. The liberty of choosing your own doctor. The liberty of choosing your own hospital. Liberty HealthShare makes healthcare affordable to millions of Americans. Ignite your liberty. Sharing plans starting at $199 for a single, $399 for a couple, and no matter how big the family, only $529. That's $529 for the entire family. To learn how you can save, go to lightyourliberty.com. That's lightyourliberty.com.
Hi, this is Susan Sarandon. Thousands of veterans are homeless and living on the streets of our nation tonight. Streets where they are being beaten, robbed, even killed. Let's take care of our own. Please join me in getting our veterans off the streets and into safe, permanent housing. You can make a donation at veteransmatter.org or text VETS to 41444 and donate any amount. They fought for us. Now we fight for them. Veterans matter.
Hey, this is Stan Ellsworth. Believe it or not, I wrote a book. Yeah, man, it's about the heroes of the American Revolution. Kind of like the motorcycle culture, same mindset and all. You can get yours on Amazon today. So, man, get your Patriot on. Let your spirit of 76 shine loud and proud, baby. Get you some. Renegades and Rebels. That's us, man.
Welcome back, comic fans. We now return to Comic.Church, leaving you right where we left off before the break. And now here's your host, Pastor Drew, the Fairy Godbrother. The Monsignor of Marvel, Sean Ray. And the Reverend Sith Lord himself, Jesse Stay.
Now you can do your serious.
And we're back.
I can't do it.
Yeah, sort of.
No, we are back.
Oh, I double booked our intros here. I was supposed to have the Star Wars one.
Welcome back, comic
We'll
fans.
save that for the next commercial break.
Then
Yeah.
I'll start preparing my laugh again.
Well, this one, before we jump into A Galaxy Far Away, let's talk about some current events and things like that you wanted to mention, and we can relate it to. There were some other things before. Have you guys seen any movies or anything like that?
I saw Lion King the other day. Finally.
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
well,
finally.
we talked about that last week.
Yeah.
So did you like it?
I thought I liked it as much as the original. It's not better. It's not worse. It was its own. Had its own quality to me as a separate movie in many ways that tells the same story. And I actually like some of the little jabs, like the Hakuna Matata.
That's what my kids they loved Pumbaa.
Yeah, I mean they made fun of the original song to an extent with this movie, which was kind of funny. Had a level of humor just like the original movie did.
Yeah.
But no, that was, I mean, the filmmaker, that was one of his things. We're not trying to recreate or do a remake of
John Favreau.
John Favreau. He said, we have the new technology.
Yeah.
And so we're just doing a re-image
John Favreau, who has Star Wars
classic
roots
that we all love.
Yes. John Favreau is also doing The Mandalorian, has
Yep.
a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit about some of those shows coming out later.
Yeah. But
Angela, real quick before we get into it, Angela Larson was saying Facebook isn't working, and we're kind of realizing that. We're pretty sure it isn't on our end. Facebook had a hard time loading up profiles, or I tried to look up your wall and it wouldn't load. And so
I couldn't load it. I couldn't load Facebook at all earlier for a short time, and then I couldn't upload images. It seems to be having issues right now.
Yeah. So if we're going to do our best, we are recording. So as soon as the show is done, we're going to upload. We'll re-upload the full version.
If you have any questions during it, you can't try Messenger. Message us on Messenger. We could try and answer questions or get questions and anything that way.
Well, and comments are coming. It's
back, dude.
It's
video
intermittent.
Thanks, Angelo.
And everything. Okay.
And again, I think that's coming from Facebook end. But Angela, it's back, dudes.
So, all right. Well, I watched a couple movies. So I watched Stuber with Dave Bautista.
Okay.
Where he's like
I saw the previews
cop.
for that.
It was kind of funny. It had some humor. I laughed a couple times. I mean, not a huge plot. It's kind of, it's
mindless
dumb
humor.
fun, kind of thing. Wait for Redbox maybe to go watch it. Dave Bautista, I'm falling more and more in love with him every movie and everything that I watch. Any comment that I hear that he makes online or, anything else, I'm really loving Dave Bautista.
He's got a lot more hair in this one too.
Yeah, he's got some hair in it because I also went
not the military cut type.
After I watched it, I went home and I watched he has some other movies on Netflix that he's done. I mean, he's done quite a bit before after his wrestling career. So
yeah,
I mean, Stuber, it was pretty fun. It's got some good comedy and humor. And then I went and watched Crawl with my son. That's the one with the alligator and the hurricane in Florida.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was surprised. I actually really like this one. I mean, the cinematography is actually very well done. I loved.
Give us a basic rundown of what it's
so
about.
What it is basically there is a hurricane off the coast of Florida that's coming and it's hitting this town. There's a daughter has to go find her dad. He's not answering his phone. And the hurricane is hitting in their little town. So she ends up looking for him, finds him in the crawl space of their home in the basement. And once she gets down there, finds out that there is a crocodile down there, and horror ensues. They have to hide or get away from these crocodiles while they're down there. And it actually, it was funny because my son really wanted to watch this.
Yeah.
He's getting into these horror flicks and everything. And it was funny because he was sitting on the edge of his seat, and there's this scene, and something happens, and it threw him into the back of his seat. It's more fun if you have not seen the trailer to this movie, because
everything's in the trailer.
They do ruin a lot in the trailers with these movies, because I mean, there's certain characters that you see and you're like, okay.
Do you remember how horrible trailers were back in the 80s, where basically like they showed you the whole movie?
Yeah.
And there are some that still do that. And it's so frustrating, because look at some of these other trailers. Like, look at the Top Gun trailer that we just had. You know absolutely nothing about this movie, but yet it has excited me about it. Look at the Star Wars trailer.
Or you go to the Marvel trailer, where they actually create new stuff to put in the trailer just to mess with
some of the Star Wars trailers.
That's the worst.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's like,
there was stuff in the original
What's real?
Force Awakens trailer that weren't in the Force Awakens movie.
Well, look at
I have the characters.
Look at the last Spider-Man Far From Home. There's a whole trailer that's not even in the movie. It's like the trailer to that movie is a prequel to the movie.
It's another universe.
It sets the movie up. So you go watch this trailer.
Or was it the movie? Maybe it was another parallel universe that they're setting up for a future movie.
It could be, because like my nephew, he loves Spider-Man, and they watched that trailer like hundreds of times. And then they're like, hey, wait, where was this part? Where was this part? You know, when, hey, I'm Peter Parker here to pick up a passport, please.
Say that
wasn't
again.
Even in the movie.
Say that 5 times.
Exactly. And he can do that. He's like 3 years old, 4 years old, and he can spit this off, you know, and I'm like, good night. You know, the whole scene where Peter Parker is fighting the villains in the bank.
Yeah.
It's not in the movie, you know, and then even that, there are scenes.
Well,
it's not
that's Mandela effect right there, because I could swear that was in the movie.
Right. That scene where he's fighting those bank robbers is not even in the movie.
Mandela effect.
And the
right
crazy
there.
thing is one of the bank robbers, people have you know, torn apart this trailer.
I swear that was in the movie.
The bank robber is wearing clothing that looks like Kraven the Hunter-ish, you know, because he's wearing leopard print pants and a vest, and people are like, oh, that could be and it's not in the movie. The whole scene where he's sitting up and
in
going,
your universe, it's not in the movie. It was in mine.
Yeah, right.
I've
I know
talked
what
to
you're
several
talking about.
people, and they didn't see it in the movie either. And I've seen the movie more times than all three of you in this studio.
Yeah,
in your universe.
My mind just exploded.
So
now you just
I would
change reality for me by saying that.
Crawl is definitely a good one to watch. I liked it watching it in the theater. I like watching those kind of movies in the theater, because you're getting the feel from the other people in the theater as well. And so,
have you seen that? There's a Netflix thriller called Another Life.
You were telling me about this, and I had another buddy that was watching.
So Eric and I, we
it's
just finished
good.
it. It's really good, and of course they end the season with a cliffhanger. It's like, dang it!
Yeah.
Now you have to wait for them to finish the story, but it's really.
Now I don't want to see it. I'll wait till the whole thing's
what's the
over.
kind of premise of this? I know it's space.
So an alien artifact comes to the planet and builds this giant crystal tower that starts broadcasting, and they're trying to communicate with it. And you know, with all their efforts, nothing's happening just yet. So at the same time, they figure out where the device is sending a signal. And so they send their fastest ship. This is in the future. So they have fast
contact,
kind of. So they send their fastest and light ship to the solar system where it came from. And, you know, with all space dramas, everything could go wrong, goes wrong. So we really liked it. Eric and I, we really
How many
liked it.
episodes?
10 episodes. Each one's an hour.
I'm kind of digging on those 10 episode type series, because it gives you enough time to kind of get into them, but not
ease the binge.
Yeah, because I mean, would you rather sit and watch a full 10-hour long movie, or would you rather watch like 20 30-minute episodes, or 10-hour 40-minute episodes? It's kind of
it breaks it up a little bit,
gives you that breakup. And things.
And speaking of Netflix, I don't know if this is necessarily comic universe per se, but Orange is the New Black came out last season. I have not yet seen it, but I hear it's excellent.
Yeah, my roommate watched it.
It's a great ending. I have no clue. I'm not gonna spoil it for him because I don't know. But
I watched.
I'll see it this week.
They all get free. They close down the prisons, and everyone gets paroled.
Another show that I just kind of started watching. It's called The Boys. It's an Amazon Prime exclusive, and this is actually it's very adult.
Yeah,
it's there's a lot of swearing, blood, nudity, like full nudity,
front or back,
front.
Boys,
front
boy or
and
girls?
Back. Boys.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm gonna have to go watch it now. I mean, you tell me that there's
so
there's some beauty there. So
the cool thing about this movie is it puts the idea of what would superheroes be like if they kind of took advantage of their powers. So when we've talked about this a little bit is, you know, the heroes with these superpowers have kind of become the vigilantes. You know, they're abusing their power to an extent. And so these people that are kind of getting sick of it. I mean, one guy, it's in the first episode, Speedster, so the two non-powered people are, you know, sitting there walking down the street and a Speedster zips by
saying,
do they get the funniest looks from
it's very
everyone they meet?
This is a very,
Were they the monkeys?
I get what you're saying. So the Speedster zips by and clips his girlfriend and takes her out and just like kills her because he right through her and stops. He's like, oh, sorry, I gotta go. And so it follows this kid and then he meets these other people and they're like, we need to take down these superheroes. And so it goes on. It's about 8 episodes long, hour-long episodes, and it goes through and they take down these heroes and it leaves at a cliffhanger. It's been renewed. So it's kind of, it's a good one for the adult viewers. So my mom actually, she told me, she's like, have you heard about this? And I said, yeah. And so she made me go and watch it. And I'm glad I did because Mom, you would not want to watch it because it's too adult for you.
Yeah.
So anything, I mean, Hobbs and Shaw just came out this last week. Avengers Endgame just came out for digital download this last week.
Watched it. Loved it.
And so many people are already dissecting. We were talking about this earlier. People are going through and dissecting this movie, even though it's been out for a minute.
Any extra scenes or anything like that?
I haven't gotten my copy yet.
I'm waiting for DVDs.
I'm waiting for the DVD.
On this one.
There are some deleted scenes on the digital copy through Apple TV. But no, one of the writers from Civil War confirmed that Steve Rogers is the father of
Peggy Carter's husband
and the father of the two children,
and
was actually, if you look at the funeral scene,
Civil
he was
War.
on back left as the pallbearer, carrying, while Steve Rogers, the young version, was at the front right. So
this is how long, and
really?
this is this is how long, and this is how.
Yeah, right.
Really?
So Kevin Feige, I want to go to this. It's not a room anymore because this is so big.
That was my mind exploding, by the way.
Intel, it's a hallway of the Marvel timeline of everything that's going on. I mean, to go back to Civil War and say, "Okay, we're going to include because they've said it. We knew that this is the direction we wanted to go, so we had to incorporate this at this time. This was like 6 years ago." Up until to now, and you know they're now even setting up because a lot of people. Do you
think the stand-in who was filming that scene knew that he was standing in for Steve Rogers 4 films into the future?
I don't know. Because I've thought, you making a movie, you always watch these movies and you're like, I don't care who I would be if I was going to play in this movie. It'd be so fun. I'd be that dead guy on the corner. I'd be this guy, or just I'd be the pizza delivery guy. I don't care as long as I'm in this movie. But to be known as like, no, that's me. I'm Steve Rogers, the old pallbearer. I'd be like, I'd do that. I'd play that part.
Hopefully he got paid well for it.
Yeah.
That's probably how they avoided paying him.
I haven't gone back, but wouldn't it be cool to go back now and in Civil War and everyone's overlooked it and it says, Paul Bearer, old Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
Maybe, yeah.
Someone look that up. I'm
gonna have to watch all the movies now. Everything I know is a lie.
I have been. I've been going back.
What's funny is they
them.
could change the entire premise of the entire series with just a few changes in future movies as is.
Especially
they could go back and watch them again.
Looking at some of the movies that are coming out too. I mean, or TV shows. I mean, a lot of people were saying, well, the whole Loki thing didn't get resolved when he took the Tesseract. I'm like, no, that opened up the whole premise for his TV show.
And the whole premise to change everything
as
it stands.
But the thing is, it's got to make a full loop and come back to complete that circle, because he's kind of come back to that same time. He ends, I guarantee that that TV series has to end him going into Asgard and being put in prison.
So this is a perfect opportunity for them, with all this time travel, to go in and fix any errors in any of their movies that they had, and just little minuscule things just go in that only the true fans are going to notice, that he went in and fixed this particular scene.
No,
that
because
then you
have George Lucas going in and refixing the original Star Wars.
But there's what I'm saying though is
travel.
he goes back in time and it's actually someone else in that scene that you don't realize it was them instead of
Loki can manipulate he can change, he can shapeshift, type of thing. And so he can go in there if someone's like, well, no, it wasn't this person, it was really Loki.
Yeah.
You never know.
The future movies change the plot.
So, but we have a commercial coming up.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about, that was interesting because Drew mentioned all these shootings. I don't really follow the news. I don't like to follow the news. So Drew had mentioned all these shootings and everything like that. So I wanted to hit on that. And we're going to relate it to the New Order, the Jedi, the Stormtrooper.
Order 66.
Order 66. I wanted to talk a little bit on who is really controlling all this? Is there really, a higher power that is controlling a lot of this, like there was in Star Wars? Who was really controlling?
Is there even a puppet master, or
who is the puppet master in some of these?
Mandarin?
In the Mandarin?
We'll be talking about that when we come back.
Yes.
This is Pastor Drew, the Fairy God Bro. The Comic.Church pastors and I, we're looking to take Comic.Church to the next level. But we need sponsors who support our vision and our mission to achieve that trajectory. If you or your company would be interested in being our sponsor for our sanctum of spirituality, please reach out to us, either through our Facebook page, Comic.Church, or through our website, comicchurch.org. Come on now. Who wants to be our Bruce Wayne sugar daddy?
When the weather's nice outside and you're not in your car or near your radio, don't worry. You can take K-Talk Radio with you on the go by using TuneIn Radio. Just search K-Talk. Or visit ktalkmedia.com to find out more ways that you can listen on the go. K-Talk. Real, local, two-way talk. Wherever you go.
Choosing your next Utah home should be a fun and exciting experience. As Utah's heritage home builder, Perry Homes is constantly striving to give our home buyers more for their money. More new homes in Utah, more desirable Utah home locations, more timeless designs, more inherent home value, and lasting pride of ownership. At Perry Homes, we make it our top priority to ensure the home buying process is as joyful and stress-free as possible. Our 40-plus year heritage has been forged on the principle of building Utah homes of high value in the communities where Utah families want to live, and giving our home buyers the quality of home we're proud to call a Perry home. Visit us at perryhomesutah.com to see current Utah home locations and available home styles and floor plans. Perry Homes. We build homes where Utah families want to live.
Hey, I'm Willie Nelson. Thousands of veterans are living on our streets right now where they're being robbed, beaten, and even killed. And if this happened behind enemy lines, we'd be outraged. So please help us get our veterans into safe, permanent housing. Donate any amount at veteransmatter.org. Or you can text VETS to 41444. They fought for us, and now we fight for them. Veterans Matter.
My name is Allison Johnson, and I'm an attorney with Peace Legal Law Firm. One of the reasons I became an attorney was to help couples with adoptions, and I am passionate about the legal work I do. Some adoptions are relatively straightforward, while others can be very complex. If you are considering an adoption, in the process of adopting, or have adoption-related questions, please don't hesitate to call me. Consultations are free. Please call 801-876-5297 and ask for me, Allison Johnson. That's 801-876-5297. Our website is peacelegal.net.
Welcome back, comic fans. We now return to Comic.Church, leaving you right where we left off before the break. And now here's your host, Pastor Drew, the Fairy Godbrother, the Monsignor of Marvel, Sean Ray, and the Reverend Sith Lord himself, Jesse Stay.
Hola.
Hola.
Hola. ¿Cómo está?
Welcome back.
Yub dub. So.
Yub nub.
Yub
Is that what you said?
Yub dub.
So yeah, 2 shootings over the collective span of 13 hours. 29 people have been murdered, 53 people injured.
Good night.
And there's a common denominator in all of these shootings. Not only these 2 over the last 24 hours, but
they were all wearing stormtrooper outfits.
No, that
would make it easy. Oh crap! Here they come.
No,
it would, but then, yeah, not even. No, we got the white male, white nationalist, 20-something, putting out these manifestos that just basically pull sound bites from the president's Twitter feed.
It's a group of people in the U.S. that believe we're already in a civil war.
Yeah,
and just everyone hasn't caught up yet.
You said
basically what
Sidious's Twitter feed. Oh no, wait, you said Trump's. Sorry.
Yeah. So, what do we do? What how do we see the radicalization going on?
Mm-hmm.
After 9/11, we saw everyone blame the entirety of Islam for their extremists. We actually went to war to get to take out the leaders that were causing people, the ringleaders that were causing the extremists, that were preaching the hate, telling people to go out and carry out jihad. So here we are. It's been for the last 10 years. I remember when I was in the military back in 2008, there was a memo that went out from the FBI warning of the rise of this white nationalism, and we wrap into it, QAnon, and I'm probably the only host on this station that actually will speak out against it. But, these conspiracy theories spreading, they're eating babies and they're, sacrificing this, and they're, we know through history, that's called blood libel, painting your enemy as such an evil person. They're raping children, human trafficking everywhere, this and that, and just sowing it on everyone that you disagree with.
Yeah.
So then you feel justified. Then, these people are doing this, these people are doing that, none of which is true. But in a crazy person's mind who's been radicalized and being spoon-fed all this hate, they feel justified because of all these, so, we'll use, for example, in Texas, from the manifesto, he was talking about infestation of Mexicans coming in and the white genocide and, this and that. And again, it sounds just like it came from a Trump rally.
Yeah. Where were these shootings at?
So yesterday's was in El Paso.
Just in a store, mall.
It started in a.
So he went on like a rampage.
Yeah, went
rampage.
Walmart. It's an open carry state. So he walked into a Walmart open carry.
A place that people open carry regularly.
Yeah. You can
here
carry,
in Utah, people open carry. That's the big thing with open carry.
Well, the thing is,
the first thing you do is you go and you walk around Walmart.
Texas, you can wear an AK strap on your back.
I have an open carry license. Well, not open.
That's
I have a concealed carry license. So.
Yeah. And that's what he did. Walked with his open carry, Second Amendment to the extreme, and just started killing children, women, just indiscriminately in a mall.
And I don't want to hear anyone in this say that they I don't want to hear anyone in this say that that this happened in a place where you couldn't carry a gun. Walmart in Texas is the ultimate place you could have carried a gun, and concealed carry did not solve this.
Any carry person with a brain. Because I have a concealed carry.
I do too.
But here's the thing: if there's a shooting, I'm not pulling my gun. I'm running. I'm hiding, because the minute you pull your gun, you're going to be now the shooter, and you're going to be hit with a spray of bullets from everyone else because all they're going to see is person with a gun.
Yeah.
So if that whole idea that enough guns, we could put it down. No, you can't. You then become the target, and also very well could be in all the media and everyone the actual assaulter.
Because I've always thought about that. Like, what if you had pulled your weapon to take out the perpetrator, you get shot and killed in the meantime, and then when they go and look over the bodies, they find you with the gun. They're like, oh, there was a second shooter.
Yeah,
I've always thought.
Well, and that's also where you hear a lot of there was multiple shooters.
Yeah,
you'll hear that when in fact there's only one. If anything. If you have half a brain and again an active shooter situation, you hide.
There's only one or two states that require any level of training with it. Utah is not one of those. Texas is not one of those. You do learn that the repercussions if you do shoot someone when it's not a life-threatening situation, but that's all you get, and that's not going to save a situation like this. It's going to cause more casualties if you decide to use your gun in these situations.
And also most people in those situations with their adrenaline going, if they do see the shooter, they're not thinking about what's behind.
No.
And that's where the training comes in. The military, we're on the range multiple times a year. You have to hit,
it's one of the
95% of your target. And without hitting the open space, the people are trained. And again, when you're shooting, people that are trained to look through and see what's also behind.
That's one of the things that a lot of people
stressful situation too.
But here's the thing though, is, and I'm probably the most liberal on this station, although I'm pretty centrist, for a lot of the things. And, I believe in the Second Amendment, but I also don't think that the type of weaponry that's out there should be. But this isn't about guns per se. This is about the radicalization of
the motives behind.
Yeah, guns do play a role into it, but then also this is a radicalization of white supremacy, white nationalism being egged on by the president of the United States, an entire political party, and a 24/7 news station.
Yeah.
So how do we balance a Second Amendment happy country when we also have radicalization going on 24/7 just everywhere?
And I think that has a lot to do with like the media, because you see on the news they show like the school shooter, they'd be like, oh, this is the name, this is the person, they give them like this platform. And I think that's a huge issue with the shootings in general, because when you're a shooter, you don't know the people, you're just going in to cause a lot of harm and damage. And so like we look, why would they do that? Well, here we are broadcasting their names, showing them, focusing on the shooter themselves instead of like being like, this is the victims, like honoring the victims and doing that. I think that's a huge issue now in the country.
You glorify, and that's a lot, you look at a lot of these people that go out and do it, and that's what they want. They want the recognition. They want the glorification of, look what I did, and, now my name is going to be mentioned and I'm going to be said across the nation. Instead, like you said, let's not even say their name, not even give them a second and just say these, let's honor these individuals that have passed.
And I completely agree up until the point though, if we're not talking about what's motivated them, we're also not addressing the issue. It's just like,
this is a civil war to these people. And we have to recognize that there are people out there that think we are in a civil war. And if that's the case,
and they're carrying it out. Yeah.
We could
need to recognize it. So how
we could talk about them without using their name, like, do not say Voldemort.
Yeah, but how talk do you do that when the chief instigator is the chief commander in chief? That's
just start calling it opposition.
Problem. And so we like to always put this in parallel to the comics, and I think white nationalism, the best metaphor for that is the New Order.
New Order. There we go.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the the parable of Star Wars. The original 4, that was a parable basically of Nazi Germany.
Well, that's where he based a lot of the. You go back and watch a lot of the history of the Star Wars, and that's where like a lot of the helmets came from, the uniforms. I mean, you look at some of the patches that they wore, and it's a lot of the very similar to the Nazi patches and
the
medals.
New Order is a perfect parallel for the next generation that's not quite stuck on their ideals, just the extremism. It's like the Kroger brand of Nazism.
And let's also be clear though that this is the group of people within that side that is truly believing we are in a civil war.
Because they've been fed that.
And Trump is to blame for a lot of that.
That's where your media,
Tucker Carlson,
your media comes in.
And I'm not a fan of Trump because of that. But Trump is not the one that is causing. He is the one. Trump is not the leader of that group. He's causing.
He is not the one that's instigating it, but he is. He is feeding.
And I'm not
them.
supporting Trump in any way by saying this.
I don't believe he's the one that's instigating, saying going out.
But we have a lot of Trump
this,
supporters in there.
But he's instigating this.
Make sure they're listening
in the verbiage that he's using, and he's fueling a lot of it unknowingly. Is kind of what I think that's kind of.
I don't think. I think it's strategic. I think that
that's where a lot of people can debate.
People like Stephen Miller, who is probably one of his biggest ringleaders of white nationals in the White House. The guy's brilliant. This has been his MO. I mean, you look. There's videos of him back in. He is.
So you
just
have
like
a lot
Reagan
of that.
Was.
Yeah.
But then you have a lot of the stupidity, like where I heard that they did Trump did some. He did an announcement or something like that, and then they posted the presidential symbol. And one of their people, it wasn't even the presidential symbol. It was something that they found on Google. And the guy's like, "Oh, I thought that was the one." And he's like, "No, that's not it." So, I mean, it really depends on like what you think is in there, because I don't think there's a lot of brains as much in the White House.
I've got to disagree just a bit. I'm not giving any respect to the hatred and racism I've seen from Trump. I did not vote for Trump. I will not vote for Trump myself. But Trump is playing from a playbook that has been put out there, and it's very clear. And he's leading from that playbook. He's trolling the left, and the left is eating it up. And the left needs to stop eating it up if they're gonna respond. But at the same time, he is the reason this stuff is happening.
Yeah, his trolling is normalizing it. So
I agree, and I'm not saying that's okay. I'm not saying it's okay. Yeah. I'm saying that the left needs to realize they're being trolled and play a different game is what I'm saying in order to keep it from being normalized.
No, I completely agree. But yeah, it can't be normalized, because this is not who we are. Except it's exactly what we are, because we've chose to ignore a lot of the,
My opinion is both sides look ridiculous because they're both playing games, and I wish we'd all come to the middle and figure this out.
It is like you said, it's a civil war. We're fighting off of each other, and it's all because we're blowing things out of proportion, I think. And there's too much fuel on the fire that it's easy to kind of make this into a huge civil war.
So how do you come to the middle though with people that ultimately believe there's a white genocide?
You find a gray order, just like in this, in the Jedi and the Sith.
There are some things that. There is no middle ground.
It's hard to find a middle ground.
The humanity of another person, of an entire culture of people. There's no negotiating.
It's going to be an endless debate, because you're going to have people that say no, like straightforward, no, there should be no guns, and there's other people, no, there needs to be guns because it's protection. And you could debate till you're blue in the face.
Yeah, we're not talking about the underlying white nationalism.
That's what we have to target. That's why I'm pushing back just a little on Trump. Not that I'm for him. But we need to focus on the white nationalism wherever it comes from, and nip that in the bud.
But how do you get rid of the new order?
It's the humanity,
and that's where
the gray order. You find a gray order in this.
So the thing is, 20 seconds.
It's humanity. That's the thing, is where it comes down to, is you need to do this and look at this for the humanity, and kind of forget about a lot of the fighting and the debating, and what is it to save a life, and that can be debate it till you're blue in the face.
Yeah. I think we have an overall topic for the rest of the show here that we can continue with our guests here.
Well, we're going to break, so we'll be right back after the top of the hour. You're listening to K-Talk. When the weather's nice outside and you're not in your car or near your radio, don't worry. You can take K-Talk Radio with you on the go by using TuneIn Radio. Just search K-Talk or visit ktalkmedia.com to find out more ways that you can listen on the go. K-Talk, real, local, two-way talk, wherever you go.
America is built and based on liberties and freedoms. Liberty HealthShare brings that to healthcare. The liberty of choosing your own doctor, the liberty of choosing your own hospital. Liberty HealthShare makes healthcare affordable to millions of Americans. Ignite your liberty. Sharing plans starting at $199 for a single, $399 for a couple, and no matter how big the family, only $529. That's $529 for the entire family. To learn how you can save, go to lightyourliberty.com. That's lightyourliberty.com.
Hi, I'm Gary Sinise. Our veterans put everything on the line to protect our freedom. We may never be able to repay them for their sacrifice, but we can show them just how much we appreciate all they've done. You can help by simply sharing your time, lending a warm smile, a supportive hand, or a sympathetic ear to someone who needs it. Everyone can do something to make veterans know just how much we appreciate their service. Please visit www.volunteer.va.gov. What will you do?
You're listening to the all-new K-Talk Media, KBJA 1640 AM, Sandy, Salt Lake, and the entire Wasatch Front, bringing you live, local, two-way talk.
Geico presents Yikes! Another voicemail from your roommate.
Sup, roomie? Hey, a pipe burst in the basement. It's completely flooded. Anyway, I called for someone to fix it, but in the meantime, I was thinking we could finally have that indoor pool party we've always wanted. I got some cool swan floaty things already going. Could you pick up some chips on your way home later?
The Geico Insurance Agency could help keep your personal property protected, like if your roommate isn't the brightest pool float in the flooded basement. Visit geico.com to see how easy it is to switch and save on renter's insurance.
USA Radio News with Wendy King.
2 mass shootings in 24 hours in El Paso, Texas and Dayton, Ohio. A collective 29 people died. The latest shooting happened overnight outside a nightclub in Dayton. The gunman is identified as 24-year-old Connor Betts. Lieutenant Colonel Matt Carper with the Dayton Police.
Our initial investigation, it appears as though there's only one shooter. We are interviewing dozens of people.
Meanwhile, in El Paso, state charges have been filed in yesterday's shooting at a Walmart. A manifesto written by the gunman shows a hatred for Hispanics. El Paso native Beto O'Rourke, appearing on ABC, says it's the administration's fault.
Division being sown by this president, hatred being welcomed during his administration. All of us must stand up against this and for a much better, a much safer country.
This is USA Radio News. A celebration at a San Diego beach turned tragic as 3 women died in a cliff collapse. USA's Chris Barnes has the latest.
The 3 relatives had gathered on Grandview Beach to celebrate one of them having survived breast cancer. Authorities releasing information on Saturday saying Elizabeth Cox, the cancer survivor, was killed instantly when the tons of sandstone came crashing down. The other 2 women, Cox's niece Ann Clave and Cox's sister Julie Davis, died at a hospital a short time later. A city official says there was no indication that there was a threat posed by the 30-foot-long slab of the cliff, which plunged onto the beach below, a few miles north of downtown San Diego.
As the trade war with China continues on, White House trade advisor Peter Navarro was on Fox News Sunday. He maintains the administration's stance that tariffs on China won't hit American consumers.
You'd have a bigger question about whether tariffs in general might cause rising consumer prices, but not in this case.
You're listening to USA Radio News. Authorities say all children in the nation's largest detention center for migrant children have been relocated with the upcoming tropical wave on the radar in South Florida. Children who remained in the center at Homestead were picked up in vans early on Saturday morning. 2 federal sources told the Miami Herald that the children moved are not coming back to Homestead, and for this reason, they will have massive layoffs. About 4,000 employees are expected to lose their jobs. The facility had to narrow its population to abide by safety regulation and reduce that by at least 700 to evacuate for a tropical storm or hurricane. Many of the children were reunited with their families during the effort to downsize, but hundreds still lack sponsors and will age out of the system. Once an unaccompanied minor turns 18, they are handcuffed and shackled and booked into an adult U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement detention facility. Attorneys say the facility failed to comply with the rules about federal government care for unaccompanied migrant children. They say they were harmed by lengthy detention at Homestead and were subject to prison-like rules. They feared breaking the rules, such as taking a long shower or even hugging or touching their own siblings or not finishing their meal would hurt their chances of being reunited with their loved ones. Take us with you on your mobile device and listen in at usaradio.com. For USA Radio News, I'm Wendy King.
Comic.Church. And all of a sudden, they're happy for, can we say...
Oh, no, not that one.
Okay. That's awesome. Sometimes you just have to try things.
His foster brother is sitting there saying, you know, I would give anything to be where you're at and have the powers and abilities that you have so that I could help or do good with them.
I'm like Superman. I'm energized by that sun. What is our son's name? Anyway, Soul. Yeah. That soul son of ours. Can't get enough of it.
I think most people would pick invisibility because I think we all think we're messed up.
Yeah.
I mean, who hasn't gone through that at some point?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where you wanted to just be invisible and be able to be invisible. I think.
Oh, yeah.
It speaks to teens that.
Well, I think
that.
And recognizing that we're all messed up.
Yep.
The beautiful part, total reference to Raiders of the Lost Ark, and he's sitting there after he put his weapons down. And he's like, "Come on, bring it on, fight me!" And she just photon blasts him, and it is just like, yes. And she walks up to him, and she just says, "You know, I don't have to prove anything to you."
Welcome back to Comic.Church. Sunday mornings at 11 on K-Talk.
Shazam!
Yes,
that'd be a good commercial.
That would be a good commercial.
Hey, I'm Willie Nelson. Thousands of veterans are living on our streets right now where they're being robbed, beaten, and even killed. And if this happened behind enemy lines, we'd be outraged. So please help us get our veterans into safe, permanent housing. Donate any amount at veteransmatter.org. Or you can text VET to 41444. They fought for us, and now we fight for them. Veterans Matter.
Stay away from religious topics, not here on K-Talk. Listen each Sunday evening at 7 p.m. to The Interpreter Show for fascinating religious discussions, hot debates, and the latest in religious scholarship, archaeology, and ancient documents. Whether you're Catholic, Mormon, Protestant, agnostic, and atheist, or something else, you'll want to listen to The Interpreter Show Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. here on K-Talk. You gotta hear it.
Military life is rewarding, but it isn't always easy. Managing the stress can affect even the strongest warrior.
But I will stay mission ready.
I will keep my mind and body fit.
Talk to my chaplain.
Seek care early. Strive for progress, not perfection.
I got this.
Take the first step. There's no better time than now. Reaching out is a sign of strength. Visit realwarriors.net or call 800-874-2273.
When the weather's nice outside and you're not in your car or near your radio, don't worry. You can take K-Talk Radio with you on the go by using TuneIn Radio. Just search K-Talk or visit ktalkmedia.com to find out more ways that you can listen on the go. K-Talk, real, local, two-way talk, wherever you go. Hour 2.
We now return to Hour 2 of Comic.Church on K-Talk, AM 1640. Real local two-way comic psycho spiritual talk. With your hosts, Drew the Fairy Godbro, the Reverend Sith Lord Jesse Stay, and the Monsignor of Marvel, Sean Ray. And now we return to the sanctum of spirituality, Comic.Church.
Welcome back. It's hour 2 of Comic.Church.
It needs a reverb.
It does. I wish we. Whatever. Yeah.
I got it a little faster too. I'm working on it. We'll perfect that laugh here eventually.
It'll get better.
So we are spending this entire hour in Star Wars land.
Yeah.
In a galaxy far, far away, yet not so far away.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about, we have Megan here, who is a producer, going to be famous one day.
That's
making movies and things. So Shadows of the Force, you can find it on YouTube now.
We've thrown a link to it on our Facebook comments feed. So
yeah, so I mean, it was fun. How I was introduced is, I have a friend that did a lot of the special effects and things, and so she asked if I could help one weekend, and so I went, and when I saw the filming and I was behind the scenes, I thought, this is the coolest thing. So I saw a lot of the fights and things, and a lot of the filming and stuff. So I just kind of wanted to spend a little bit and talk with Megan about, some of the motivation behind it. Because, how many people have wanted to make their own movie, let alone a Star Wars movie, and have the, just to go out and do it. Like, so Megan, what was like, you said that you had watched some of the movies and you kind of grew up with this, but what was some of your motivation behind like actually going out and doing this?
Well, I did acting. Well, I do acting.
She's been in TV shows. You can find her in a lot of Disney shows and
for like split seconds, but it's fine.
She's there.
Don't diminish yourself.
It's a start. But so I've done acting for like a long time, and I was like, oh man, it'd be so cool to be in a Star Wars film. Like the amount, like once you hit that in your career, you know that you've hit the top.
Yeah.
And so I was like, it's probably going to be years and years until like I get that like moment of glory. So I was like, you know what, let's just make a film. And I was like, it's probably going to be a long time. So I was like, just do it myself. Like, cause I like to consider myself very motivational. So like, I'm like, let's do it. If like we want to do this, let's do it. So I was like, cool. I'm going to have it for my demo reel, and it'll just be another cool little thing. And then eventually it just grew and grew and grew. And I found a lot of people to come on the film. I think on the film there was like 75 people all together.
And it ranges from what, like 6-year-old to 70-year-old?
Yeah, exactly. Like we have so many like different people on the show, and it's just like, it was like really fun. And I got to meet a lot of people and grow with them, and just, like, cause it's been 3 years since I started like writing the film, producing it. And it's been a long journey, and like now I get to see like everybody's careers, like how they are now, and like it's just really cool.
Yeah, because when I was on set, talking to some of the other people, and some of them are models or have gone on to other movies, work with Hallmark, some of these other big production companies and things, and to start just by doing a small fan film. Again, also this is not associated with Lucasfilm or Disney or anything. This is
gotta add that film, so I don't get sued.
Yeah. So it is strictly a fan film. I mean, something that we've all kind of wanted to do. So we've talked about like your favorite Star Wars and stuff. What is your favorite Star Wars film?
Oh no, that's gonna be.
And this goes for Jesse and Drew as well, because I mean, I have mine, obviously.
Which is?
I love Return of the Jedi. That's the one that I probably have killed my VHS tape from watching it over and over. And there's other ones I really enjoy. But one of the last ones I loved is Rogue One.
Yeah, I was going to say, if I had to pick right now,
done.
Rogue One, not only because it's well done, but it totally meshes with my personality.
Yeah.
Like I think if push came to shove and society collapsed and whatnot, I would totally be on board with them. Yeah. One last hurrah for to give freedom a chance.
For me, it was most definitely Star Wars Holiday Special.
Yeah. Oh yes.
I watch that every.
I just want to go. I want to go to Chewie's house for Christmas.
With the family. Ask my family. We actually do. But no. I'm a Return of the Jedi fan too. The Ewoks did it for me, and I really hope they bring Ewoks in some way or another
there's so many theories of what
Rise of Skywalker
they're going to.
Yeah,
that'd be so cool.
Ever since I was a kid, I love the Ewoks.
Well, and a lot of people don't remember
Ewok movies.
There's two of them.
Yeah,
the Battle for Endor and
the one with Sindel and Wicket.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people
those
don't
are great
know
too.
those
Like when I
ones.
say the holiday special, actually, I like those. Actually, those are probably near the top of my list
because those are the ones that
just from
back
a
in
memory.
the day, I loved the puppeteering. I loved the old costumes.
Yeah,
and that's when I think of a Star Wars. That's the kind of special effects and animation. I like that instead of, and that's where
I was first
3
introduced
episodes
to
fall short.
I was first introduced to the Star Wars world as a kid.
Yeah,
through the Ewoks first.
Oh yeah,
so
Me
I
too.
saw Ewoks first, and then I saw Star Wars once it became older. And
yeah, I kind of understood a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, I saw Star Wars. My friends got one of the really expensive VHS players,
Remember the old laser
early
disc
'80s,
players?
and
with the laser just that friggin' big.
and so I watched it at my friend's house. I think that's my first memory, and of course they had the toys all out in the stores. I think even before I saw Star Wars, I was buying the toys. I didn't even know who they were or what they were.
They're just cool.
All my friends had them, so
The old
I'd take them
lightsabers
out
used
and
to
I'd
come out
play
of their
with them. And
forearms.
every time we go to the store, I beg my mom to buy me one, and I have very fond memories of that. But
Yeah, my uncle had the toys. And
I was like 3 or 4 years old.
he never wanted me to play with them, but I'd always go and take them.
They're collectibles.
They are. Some of them
I
are
still have them.
so much money.
I still have a bunch.
So
of
what
them.
was your end all, your favorite one?
It's really hard because like there's one from all
Besides
of
your
the
own.
trilogy. Obviously. It's really tricky. I like one from each of the trilogies. The threes. I'd say from the originals, I really, really, really liked Return of the Jedi. That was by far the best.
Now, here's a big question a lot of people always ask, and especially for someone that hasn't seen a Star Wars movie, what order do you watch them in? Do you go straight to the original 4, 5, and 6? Or, because that was something when I found out I was going to have kids.
Yeah.
I was like, that was a thought that I had. Not many normal people are like, which order am I going to make my kids watch this?
I think 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3.
I would say
I don't know.
I would say 1, 2, 3 first.
That's what I do.
Because those are like not to like hate on the the prequels, but like once you see the originals, you don't want to watch the prequels.
You get more of this. You get more of the story if you start with 1, 2, and 3, and you've also got to get the movie of Clone Wars.
Yeah, you need to put the Clone Wars
series
in
there.
You have to experience Jar Jar
and Star Wars Rebels and everything else that goes with it. But to me, you get more of the story if you can take it in sequence from starting with episode 1. And going through, and then you can start really diving in and saying, "Oh, wow, there's this little piece here that they put in, and such that fits in with the rest."
The problem is if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you don't get that huge reveal in Empire Strikes Back.
Also, there's a beauty in the story element,
but we've all seen that. If you haven't seen it before,
But here's the thing: there's beauty in the narrative of telling the story, where you first see the person broken, and how you got there, and then it's like, okay, how did they get to that point? Let's go back, and then 1, 2, 3, and then
I was just a kid when I saw it anyway, and I didn't know that didn't really have much of an effect on me anyway as a kid, so it didn't really bug me.
Here's a way that I've found that you can kind of do a little bit what you're talking about, Drew, but still follow a good storyline. Is start with number 2, go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go back if you want to find out a little bit about him. Where you can go back and watch number 1.
Yeah, but see,
and they have a lot more coming on because there's so many rumors that they've got a Kenobi movie coming on. There's a Cassian Andor TV show that's going to be happening. That's going to be a spy drama, a spy thriller, which is kind of cool because again, you're going back. You already know his outcome, so you know what happens.
I still like the part where, we start with Vader being all bad, then he dies. There's like a record scratch, and Teenage Wasteland starts playing. It's like, So
but the thing
you're
is,
probably wondering how I got to this point, right? And then we go back to 1, and it plays out. So,
see, the cool thing is you have so many different the technologies now. Have you guys gone back and seen the actual? Well, like people have gone back and edited the Obi-Wan and Vader fight in the halls of.
Oh, I
the
saw
Death
that.
Star.
That was so sick.
Oh, wow.
It is. Have you seen it, Jesse?
I haven't. No.
You need to. It's
Okay.
so cool.
It totally rectifies the death. The Obi-Wan and Vader fight.
Wow.
Scene. Instead of them just sitting in a doorway, they're battling throughout the death. I will
that would
try
be
and
cool.
find it.
Yeah.
We need to post it to our battle. Or
That's an edit that movie does need.
It was so cool.
Definitely does, because it justifies that little scene, because that is a question so many people have. Is what happened to Vader? Why is he now?
Why is he such a jerk? What happened?
They need an app that has Star Wars
Vader
shorts.
so hard that he became such a jerk he destroyed the freaking galaxy. Like
it was Jar Jar.
It was Jar Jar.
It was all Jar Jar.
Darth Jar Jar.
Yeah. Disney needs an app that has Star Wars shorts that they can release like that are official.
Those are called
canon.
Underoos.
And what was that?
Those are called Underoos.
No, the movie shorts,
video clips.
Yes, Underoos are cool though. But they can release things like that in official canon so they don't have to release an entirely new trilogy version of the 4, 5, and 6,
like George Lucas did.
Yeah, and then you can still have the original and its sacred form, which there's rumors it's going to come back out in that format again, but still you can go and you can see new ways of seeing the series and new parts of the canon and such.
Music's playing. We're playing the not quite Princess Leia.
I'm just
theme.
waiting for you to say we're going.
I'm playing the long form. I gave us a 2-minute intro.
I was also enjoying it too.
We're not playing the licensing. This is a not quite Leia.
Again,
it's almost Leia's theme.
Yeah, almost Leia's
John
theme.
Williams, complete class. I mean, this Star Wars is just classic all the way around.
It is. And when we come back from our commercial break, we're going to be talking to Megan about her installment of her fan film.
If there's any questions,
Shadows of the Force.
She's got a couple questions. We'll answer those here coming up.
So we'll be right back after this. You're listening to Comic.Church on K-Talk, AM 1640, real local 280.
Stay away from religious topics, not here on K-Talk. Listen each Sunday evening at 7 p.m. to The Interpreter Show for fascinating religious discussions, hot debates, and the latest in religious scholarship, archaeology, and ancient documents. Whether you're Catholic, Mormon, Protestant, agnostic, and atheist, or something else, you'll want to listen to The Interpreter Show Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. here on K-Talk. You gotta hear it.
I am a veteran. I spent 2 years alone and homeless.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
My victory was finding the support to get back on my feet.
DAV helps veterans of every generation get the benefits they've earned.
I'm a veteran. When I got out, I felt like nowhere was safe.
So veterans can reach victories, great and small.
My victory was finding the help I needed. Thanks to DAV, now I feel like I'm human again.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
My name is Allison Johnson, and I'm an attorney with Peace Legal Law Firm. One of the reasons I became an attorney was to help couples with adoptions, and I am passionate about the legal work I do. Some adoptions are relatively straightforward, while others can be very complex. If you are considering an adoption, in the process of adopting, or have adoption-related questions, please don't hesitate to call me. Consultations are free. Please call 801-876-5297 and ask for me, Allison Johnson. That's 801-876-5297. Our website is peacelegal.net.
Welcome back, comic fans. We now return to Comic.Church, leaving you right where we left off before the break. And now here's your host, Pastor Drew the Fairy Godbrother, the Monsignor of Marvel, Sean Ray, and the Reverend Sith Lord himself, Jesse Stay.
I was going to say, I'm going to spare you the laugh, but yeah. I can't. I've got to work on that. That's one I can't do.
Welcome back.
We are back in the studio with Megan Hammond. She wrote, produced, starred in
basically everything.
Yeah, everything but pushed play on the video recorder.
Right.
She did Shadows of the Force. You can find it on YouTube. We're talking Star Wars in studios. We're in a galaxy far, far away. So a lot of people have questioned, when did your movie take place? Like, where in the timeline of Star Wars did this fall into?
So we take it off of Darth Revan and where he is at. And if you've played like the old video games, you know Darth Revan, he's really popular.
Yes.
It happens in the Old Republic. It's around the time when there's the Jedi Civil War or like the Second Sith War.
So this is pre-movies.
Oh, yeah.
Which they have announced that they are going to do a Knights of the Old Republic movie.
Woo!
They're in the works of doing this. So this is in the times of the Old Republic.
So how many years before A New Hope?
Well, I don't know your movie, but
are we talking years, centuries?
The video game Knights of the Old Republic takes place 4,000 years before A New Hope.
Okay.
Before the Empire, is
Empired.
The Empire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's way back there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've got some movies we could totally fill in the meantime.
Oh yeah.
So your movie takes place in the Old Republic.
Yes.
So where were some of your inspiration behind some of the characters? Like, where did Ava, which of course you play Ava, tell us a little bit of background or maybe direction that this character is going?
So I kind of wanted to do a movie kind of like Civil War, where it's like both sides have like a very good cause and like none of them are like the bad guy per se. So I kind of went off of that idea that, Ava's not a bad guy. She was just trying to help her family and, stop this evil Sith army that's approaching.
Yeah.
And so, Kiv didn't see that way. He was like, he was very siding with the Jedi, as in like, no, you can't like just go after and kill people. You can't do that. And I think in the next movie, if they
spoiler. What'd you just do?
No. Erase that.
I'll hit the cuss button.
That doesn't work.
And we're just gonna try to see,
Yeah, it works.
is Ava gonna come back? Is she just gonna side with Darth Revan? Because at this point in the Old Republic, Darth Revan's trying to build up his Sith army because he just left the Jedi Order and he's, this is before his redemption. So we're gonna see, is Ava gonna join him? Is she gonna go back to Kiv? What's gonna happen?
Okay. Jesse, can you give us a background of who Darth Revan is? Because there's a lot of people that don't.
Revan, I'm not as familiar with Darth Revan, so I'm failing here. Sean's trying to outshow his knowledge here.
No, you are our Star Wars.
No, I get. I'm not as familiar with Darth Revan. Why don't we talk about that though?
So these are some of the old, when you go into the Sith temples and things like that. This is very deep into Star Wars
stuff, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not canon anymore. Well,
I'm religious to canon. So.
Well,
they're going to start being canon.
Not canon as far as Kathleen Kennedy says, but what really does she have to say about it anyways?
So
she's an imposter.
Back before we have Darth Sidious, whom I want to kind of talk with a
Kathleen
little
Kennedy
bit.
is a Sith.
I think so. I think this could be an incarnation of Palpatine
what if she's
or something.
Kree?
No, she's secretly a Sith Lord
like
trying
that
to take Anyways, go ahead.
So back in the day, we have you before Darth Plagueis.
I'm also
Darth
Snapchatting,
Sidious
so that's why I'm not.
So I caught him off guard.
Yeah, I'm for the record, I'm promoting the show.
We have before Plagueis, they're in Sidious. Well, you have Darth Sidious kind of talking about his mentor, Darth Plagueis. And this is something that has been mentioned. And I think that scene when he is talking about that is very one of the most pivotal moments in Star Wars that you need to go back and watch too, when Darth Sidious is talking to Anakin Skywalker in Revenge of the Sith in the third one, because it explains so much. And I think that they're pulling from a lot of that scene into where he is at now.
Yeah, I think the next movie is going to really pull from that. I think that's where J.J. Abrams really wanted to pull this, and I think they got off track in The Last Jedi when he was moved off set. And
do you know who though I like way better than J.J. Abrams?
Who?
Megan Hammond.
Oh my gosh.
Well, no, I mean, I was actually going to get into that though. That what Megan here is doing is actually very much in the spirit, and that's what I love about the fan fiction world is that that's the spirit of what George Lucas was doing. That's the spirit of J.J. Abrams. I mean, that's where his passion came from, was in that fan fiction type world, creating Super 8 videos as a kid with his best friend Greg Grunberg, who I'm gonna get on the show here one of these days. Greg, I sent a message to him. I'm still waiting for the response, but I do have an interview with him once, and look on my YouTube channel. I've got it. But anyway, that's my claim. That's my one claim to fame.
You have more than that.
But yeah, so that's the spirit of it. And so I think I'd love to know more, like, what got you, I mean, where was your passion in terms of what got you going in the realm of fan fiction and got you excited and such, compared to, like, I mean, was it kind of the same type of spirit that we saw with George Lucas and J.J. Abrams?
I just like the fact that, like, with fan fiction, you don't have to necessarily go with canon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you obviously have the Star Wars films, but I like to make stuff like my own. Like, because when I was a kid, I used to write these stories like all the time, and like I just like really wanted to write like a Star Wars film, because Star Wars is iconic. You obviously, if you haven't seen the movie, you have to go see the movies now.
Let us film you watching it though, because that's the fun part.
Oh yeah. And it's just like it's just really cool to be able to create your own little Star Wars character, because you get to fight with the lightsaber, you could use the Force, you could do all these cool things. I just, just the love of the Star Wars universe, like the universe, just really got me going into it.
And what introduced you to Star Wars? You said you talked about your parents had the VHS tapes.
Yes.
So were your parents also big Star Wars fans?
My dad was. My mom was like, what is this Dark Vader? And I was like, it's not Dark Vader, it's Darth Vader.
Her parents own a toy store.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Exposed.
Oh, wow.
Of course, that was like one of being my
How do I do that for
dream.
my kids?
I know.
Dang it. I've got a new life ambition now.
So your parents, and then did a lot of your friends, did you have that geekdom, that friend of that kind of got you into it and kind of helped fuel a lot of that?
I had my sister. My friends aren't really into like Star Wars. Like, it's so disappointing. Like, if you're still my friend, I'm a friend for a good
different reasons.
Yes, and like me and my sister, like we go to Comic-Con. Like I started going to cons.
And she cosplays. It's awesome.
I
she loves cosplaying, and they look good. Chips
Thank
Ahoy.
Will you make my cosplay costume? Because I am horrible at cosplay.
Nice.
Start learning how to do it.
I have a 3D printer.
We need to find a cosplayer to come in and talk with us, because I would love to.
I know a few. We could do that.
But yeah, we just started going to cons, and ever since then, started really getting into like the superhero world, Star Wars world, just the geek world in general.
Yeah. So
real quick question. Do you know an Angela Larson?
I do. She's my friend.
Angela's saying is here in the comment section. If you have a comment you'd like to add, just come to our comment section and we'll throw it up. But she's saying is what Megan won't tell you is that she was incredibly stressed out the entire filming and editing process.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you, Angela.
I could imagine. I mean, the stress level, I mean, tell us a little bit about like that, or like the struggle. Like, what are some of the hang-ups that you kind of came across doing this?
Well, first, I'm in high school still. When I started the film, I think I was 15 and a half.
How old are you?
I'm 17 right now.
You're 17.
I know.
Wow.
It's
Everyone thinks I'm
crazy.
25.
I would put early 20s. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have
that's
a, I have a
crazy 'cause-
17-year-old son, so that's really impressive.
Thank you.
Because not many 15-year-olds are that motivated to like kind of do that. And actually,
You are like the female J.J. Abrams.
to
One of a
start.
kind.
Instead of an 8 millimeter camera, what did you shoot on?
We shot on 3 different cameras.
Okay.
So there was a Panasonic. I don't remember what kind it was. And then my camera, which is a DSLR. It's a Nikon D3400. And then we shot on.
No, Nikon.
I don't even remember the other one.
I'm a Canon guy. So.
There were a couple, yeah, because I remember doing some of the scenes where we were doing some of the lightsaber, and we had the different camera angles and everything set up.
Up at the fight scene that was filmed up at the Capitol.
The Capitol, yeah.
Yeah.
We actually had to reshoot that.
You did?
We did because
Oh my gosh.
a lot of the camera, like, because it was freezing cold that day. It was November 22nd.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was so cold, and so like, you know, you get a little delirious, and you're like, "Ah," and like the angles were not working with editing. Like it was just like it was in place, it was on a tripod, and like yeah, it's good, but like when you have an action scene, you can't just stay still.
Correct.
And so like we reshot it a month before it was supposed to be released.
Okay.
Oh
And
wow.
it was so crazy. The time crunch was insane.
Yeah. So this was
It was
actually
insane, but you know I can't even talk today. That's what makes it so much fun.
It was so
Like,
much fun.
You know, Angela's who called you out saying how stressed you are. Like that stress is so addicting. Like that's what gets you into filmmaking and all that kind of. It's that, and it's fun. You can't explain it unless you're in that frame of mind.
I've been
creating.
on the acting side of that as an extra in a few films, and just that side is fine. My brother's a film major and has been on the film side, and I've helped him on a few things, and that side is a blast too. But it's just like you get in this mindset of you're living the roles that you're playing or that you're filming or that whatever from a filmmaker's perspective, you're also imagining the roles in different ways and having to interpret that into the ways that that you're going to get on camera and such. It's a blast.
It was also really crazy because I was on both sides of the camera because I usually do acting, and so to be on the other side of the camera was like a brand new experience for me. So I had to find a lot of people, and at the beginning of the film, like everyone just kind of left. They're like, you know, you're a young like aspiring filmmaker, like that's cool, but like, you know, they didn't really have the patience to stick with me and help me like learn.
Yeah.
And so I had to find like a lot of like YouTube videos and learn myself and like just get that experience myself. I was like, no one's going to give it to me. I have to get it myself. And
Exactly.
yeah. And I found a lot of new crew members, and I found people that were like, yeah, you know what? That sounds really cool. And then once we started doing it, and once I started doing it on my own, like it went by so fast. Like I still can't believe it's been 3 years. Like it still feels like it's been like a month. Maybe.
That's amazing. This will be something that you'll always be able to look back and be like, this is like one thing that started it, and the struggles and learning experiences that's the biggest thing. Is so many people don't go out and do it, and this is probably one of the biggest learning experiences that's going to help, you know, set off the career and everything that you're going to go on. So what are some of the other questions that people have had about the movie?
So a lot of them are confused because if you haven't watched the movie, you need to. There's a spoiler that's coming up in 2 seconds.
Okay.
Oh, spoiler.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Spoiler alert,
don't
spoiler
listen for a
alert.
second. If you're go watch the movie right
It's
now,
time.
pause it. Go watch. Link in the comments.
Yes. So at the end of the movie, Ava is revealed to be of the Skywalker lineage. And we, like at the end of the movie, you also find out Ava is, you know, the heart of Tython. She can take the Force ability away from people. And we had a comment that was like, the Skywalker family wasn't Force sensitive until Anakin, so why is Ava able to use the Force? Well,
And that was a comment from Bucky Williams on YouTube.
yes. And Ava, her power is not necessarily using the Force, because during the whole movie, you see her hesitating to use the Force, hesitating, and like she doesn't really have the ability to use the Force. She just has it to be able to take it away. And when she goes to train with Darth Revan, he helps her like access the energy and be able to draw off from it. And so at the end of the film, she releases her powers on Kiv, and she takes she basically takes the Force away from him. And so I just want to clarify that, because it's not her using the Force, it's her taking it away from people.
What if they take an idea from you and do this to Rey?
Ooh.
In the new upcoming Star Wars?
Will you be mad or happy?
I mean, if they pay me.
And if they take your basic idea from Ava and be like, this is basically a same thing with Rey. You know, she becomes the lineage of a Skywalker, and
I still think Rey. I'm holding out hope that Rey is a reincarnated version of Anakin, coming back in the feminine form to fix all the mistakes that she did on the previous time around.
You know what I'm holding out for, but I'm not going to bring it up in this show.
Han Solo is dead.
I think he's still alive. And
No,
he's going to show up in the next show.
He's hanging out on Tatooine with Jar Jar Binks in the
I
cantina.
think he grabbed onto the side somewhere and had some limbs restored.
Wasn't there a shot of like
he
when he
comes
was
back as
falling,
half
his
cyborg?
head hit a beam, and then he spun around, and I don't know, it was pretty.
They download all of his memories into a new cybernetic form, and now
That's
it's just,
Data.
just his voice.
He's BB-8.
That actually would be awesome if they did that. That would be cool. Then Harrison Ford does not have to come and actually act. He can just come and
because he's too busy
and
doing
talk.
Indiana Jones 5.
Yeah, which starts filming next
Which
year.
would be better if he did Rise of Skywalker.
So, yeah, we got a minute coming up on the break here. So,
and I'm done posting on all my social media channels, so I'm paying attention.
So
sorry.
We'll have Jesse back. For the last
ADD Jesse's is
I
back
haven't paid
in the
attention,
room.
though.
So we'll finish up. We'll ask a couple more questions. Like, again, if you have any questions for Megan, please feel free to ask those so we can get those up before. Find us on all podcast social media outlets: Instagram, Facebook, Spotify.
Tune
the nice
in,
thing,
Apple iTunes.
Peter Tingle at petertingle.org.
Visit our website.
The nice thing with our podcasting sites is commercial free.
I mean, who really likes commercials anyways? Unless they're funny. But you're listening to
I like
Comic.Church on
commercials because they
K-Talk.
pay the bills.
AM 1640, real, local, two-way talk, and we'll be right back after this. Hey there, comic book fans and believers in all things geekdom. And this is Pastor Drew, the Fairy Godbro. And I just want to let you know that all of us here at Comic.Church are working hard to build a place that we can all come to, a place of refuge, a place to be edified by the universes that inspire us the most. And this show, it's just the launching off point. We invite you to subscribe to our podcast, Comic.Church, using your favorite podcasting service. We're on them all: Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, TuneIn, and more. You can also join us live each Sunday at 11:05 a.m. on K-Talk, AM 1640, and live stream with us on Facebook, where you can interact with us in the comments section and be part of the show. We got so much in store for 2019 and going into 2020, and we invite you to come along and be a part of it. We at Comic.Church know how important fans are, and we thank you for taking this chance and being our fans.
I am a veteran. I spent 2 years alone and homeless.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
My victory was finding the support to get back on my feet.
DAV helps veterans of every generation get the benefits they've earned.
I'm a veteran. When I got out, I felt like nowhere was safe.
So veterans can reach victories, great and small.
My victory was finding the help I needed. Thanks to DAV, now I feel like I'm human again.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Choosing your next Utah home should be a fun and exciting experience. As Utah's heritage home builder, Perry Homes is constantly striving to give our home buyers more for their money. More new homes in Utah, more desirable Utah home locations, more timeless designs, more inherent home value, and lasting pride of ownership. At Perry Homes, we make it our top priority to ensure the home buying process is as joyful and stress-free as possible. Our 40-plus year heritage has been forged on the principle of building Utah homes of high value in the communities where Utah families want to live, and giving our home buyers the quality of home we're proud to call a Perry home. Visit us at perryhomesutah.com to see current Utah home locations and available home styles and floor plans. Perry Homes. We build homes where Utah families want to live.
Hi, this is Susan Sarandon. Thousands of veterans are homeless and living on the streets of our nation tonight. Streets where they are being beaten, robbed, even killed. Let's take care of our own. Please join me in getting our veterans off the streets and into safe, permanent housing. You can make a donation at veteransmatter.org or text VETS to 41444 and donate any amount. They fought for us. Now we fight for them. Veterans Matter.
My name is Allison Johnson, and I'm an attorney with Peace Legal Law Firm. One of the reasons I became an attorney was to help couples with adoptions, and I am passionate about the legal work I do. Some adoptions are relatively straightforward, while others can be very complex. If you are considering an adoption, in the process of adopting, or have adoption-related questions, please don't hesitate to call me. Consultations are free. Please call 801-876-5297 and ask for me, Allison Johnson. That's 801-876-5297. Our website is peacelegal.net.
The sun's finally out, so get out there and enjoy. And don't forget to bring along the refreshing sound of K-Talk Media, 1640 AM.
Welcome back, comic fans. We now return to Comic.Church, leaving you right where we left off before the break. And now here's your host, Pastor Drew, the Fairy Godbrother, the Monsignor of Marvel, Sean Ray, and the Reverend Sith Lord himself, Jesse Stay.
Me.
And now, Comic.Church.
Welcome back. Oh, I have no shame.
Where did you go with that?
Oh, yeah. Well, during the break, we were talking about.
That was Mr. Ed, by the way.
I was
that, Mr. Ed?
We're here in the studio with Mr. Ed.
They called me Mr. Ed. They called me Mr. Okay.
So we got in the studio with us, Megan Hammond.
Hello.
Hello, welcome back. And she is the director of the fan film Shadows of the Force.
No connection with Lucasfilm or Disney.
Thank you for that.
But
and the music we're playing
just
was
as
not
popular.
quite the Empire March.
Yeah. Well, she's as popular because she's on our show now.
So, for those that are just joining, Megan, you are 17.
17.
Filmmaker, just put out your fan film, Star Wars.
So
which is
your
available
parents,
on YouTube.
Your
She's on
parents are
IMDb.
probably my age, approximately.
Yes.
I'm assuming, or and some of our age here. And so I see where you get the Star Wars from your dad in many ways, because it reminds me of me and my kids in many ways. So that's cool.
See, I'm sad because my son, we watched Rogue One, and at the scene when they were on the beach at the end, he turned to me and he's like, "Do they die?" And I'm like,
Oh my
"Dude, that's
gosh.
part of the story." You know, he's like, "I hate this. I hate Star Wars." And ever since then, he will not watch a Star Wars. He does not like Marvel. He's like very against it all because of Rogue One. And I'm like, dude, it's part of the story.
So
so
that brings
I'm
us into
sad
the
about
mass tragedy thing. I think that's actually a good thing to bring us into towards the end here, don't you think? And that maybe talk about some of the gray
the Gray Jedi part, because I wanted to ask Megan, so there are the Gray Jedi.
So is it like, Lord of the Rings, and also like trolls? You have your white hat troll, your gray hat troll, your black hat troll. Like, is it kind of like
real quick?
I haven't seen Lord of the Rings.
Oh, you haven't?
I have not.
Oh,
I know. You just like.
So real quick before we get into that, I just want to real quick.
It's like a rare extinct creature that like you read about in books, like, but you've never seen in real life.
It's like one of those people where you're like,
okay,
you haven't seen it. Can I take you and go watch
I am
them with
so
you?
They're too long.
But they're not long enough. Like, I am so excited for you that you have the opportunity to like experience that for the first time. It's like,
and it'll be on Amazon. They're making
I have it in full
Yes.
3D at my house
You
in
have the
surround
extended
sound. I have the
7-hour
extended
episodes.
7-hour episodes.
7 hours.
Yes,
Oh my
I have the
gosh.
whole thing.
it's
We've
an
got-
epic
we've got-
journey.
we'll
but
do a whole
I am
party at
so
my
excited
place.
for you. It was like the first time when I watched Doctor Who, and
Haven't seen Doctor Who either.
Not everybody. I've only
It's
seen
okay.
a couple episodes.
Star Wars is really my thing too. I
That's
just
the thing
geek
is
out on everything at the same time. Drew
He's like
is
crying over here.
speechless here.
Next week, I'm going to have to bring up a poll of all the different percentages of fans. And you'd be surprised at like the different percentages of, there are 60% of the people that are Marvel, or 60% is Star Wars. I think 59 is DC. And there's a whole poll that I was reading the other day about that.
So just real quick, back into tragedy. I want to talk just a couple of the. We have multiple tragedies in the Star Wars series, in the Star Wars saga.
Jar Jar Binks was the first tragedy.
The first tragedy. You've got Order 66. You have from Rogue One, and multiple times of entire planets being destroyed through large Death Stars and satellites and things that aren't actually moons.
Blowing up. That's
it's so irresponsible.
Clones.
Yeah.
Like, think of the animals and the trees.
Ewoks.
The Ewoks. Like,
it's one of the saddest deaths to me.
Why would you pop an Ewok
Is when
planet?
the Ewoks get blasted by the AT-AT. Yeah,
I don't let that happen.
Rip.
So there are like two things we can be looking at here. One is, how did people cope with these things, and I wonder if there are things we can learn from your movie here, from some of that, and at the same time, how do we prevent the tragedies of the extremism that causes these tragedies and what areas? So I think those two things are things that we can get into with this. I'm just kind of saying that the premise here.
And we got about 6 minutes before the end of the show.
In the 6 minutes we have. So I'm curious. So in your movie, we have it's the gray order, right? Tell us more about that and how you were talking about some. We were bringing that up in the frame of this actually could be a way to overcome
there's the light side, the dark side, and then there's the neutral. Is it a
the
neutral?
fence
like,
sitters?
They're the ones that keep the balance with the Force. So, like, if there's something that's really good that's happening, there's something that bad happens.
Mm-hmm.
They're just kind of the middle ground. And so, like, if the Jedi overstep, or if the Sith overstep, the Grey Jedi are kind of like the ones that like step in and be like, you can't. Sorry.
It's like a referee. Switzerland, a referee.
They're the moderates, the centrists.
There's got to be someone there that keeps the peace.
Yeah, they're not going to start the wars, but they're going to be the ones to end it.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious. We talk about the modern tragedies of these shootings and just so much negative happening around, caused by extremism. I can't talk in our current society. How do we fix that, and what can we learn from the Jedi universe to fix that? I mean, it's all about that, bringing balance to the Force, and I think that's what we need to get to, is bring balance to our Force of modern day. How did we do it in Star Wars? I'm asking everyone here.
Rejecting fear.
Well, I mean, that's kind of where Ahsoka didn't. She kind of went to the white side, and what the thing is with the white side is they kind of denounce a lot of their beliefs. I mean, you get to a point where, if you think everything is so good but where does that become a downfall as well? Because it can't be all gumdrops and lemon drop, whatever so
wine
there's got to be a balance to it.
Things.
Like with Kiv, I mean, he can't be all, no, this is the way it needs to go, and if you're not,
it's very Buddhism,
following us.
The yin yang, finding that balance, recognizing your dark side and your light side, and you need both, and you have to find a way to balance the two and not be a polarity to one or either side.
Could the issue here be that we're seeing wrong in things, and we need to, if both sides stopped seeing wrong in the other side and started coming to a central point where we truly try to understand each other and realize, okay, the other side, there are extremes, and those are the parts we need to get rid of on both sides. If there's someone in our side that is causing wrong, we need to exterminate that too, going back to Doctor Who. But but realizing that we're all in the end good people trying to do the best we know how in the cultures we were raised in, and not necessarily seeing that we're wrong on either side, but finding the evil in both sides and how we can overcome that. And I think we see that a lot in Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We saw it with in The Last Jedi with in many ways the end of
with
the
Kylo
religion
Ren,
of the Jedi, which was the negative side of the light side, was the religion part of that.
Where it's only this way, it's only the good, it's only this. But there has to be some smudging of the lines in there. I mean, you can't only drink milk the rest of your life. You've got to be able to put some blue milk in there.
It's a smoothie.
I know my brother said it's
well, and I noticed somebody had some green milk in
milk.
Yes, I did notice that. That was
yes.
it was actual milk. It wasn't a smoothie in that
And
one.
I hate drinking milk, so drinking that was so hard.
But you've got to find the balance between the two sides. And the thing is, I feel that a lot of that is listening, putting down the weapon and listening, putting down the saber, and being able to listen and feel the passion, feel the concern from everybody.
Even in the Star Wars realm, though, there isn't. Sometimes when you get to a point when whether it's the New Order or whichever side evil is balancing on, there isn't a middle ground, and that's where we have Luke blowing up the Death Star. You can't negotiate with someone whose only terms are absolute submission, and if you don't agree, we'll blow up your planet. So it does come to a point where there's not you can't negotiate. Like once you pass that, like you have to.
It's a matter of recognizing that there aren't two sides, but there is a light side and a dark side here, and it's finding the dark side on both sides that you have to get rid of. And the path to the dark side starts with fear. Fear is the path to the dark side. But yeah, I mean, fear. We can pull up all of Yoda here, but
if you trace every problem that's going wrong, if you trace it back to its origin, it all starts there.
And we if we got rid of the sides here, brought it back to a gray order of where there are no sides, but seeing
there is
light and dark on both sides actually, and finding the dark on both sides. That's how we come to the middle.
Finding the light.
But here's the thing: there is no sides. Yeah. Light and dark is both just a different spectrum of luminosity.
Yeah,
there isn't sides. There's breaking up between 1 and 100 points. 1 being absolute dark, 100 being absolute light. There's a spectrum in between.
That's the idea of the yin and the yang.
Yeah. So realizing that there aren't two sides, but there is. And again, I hate breaking it down to the right or. I have a hard time even calling it
evil. It insinuates judgment and wrong too. I agree.
Well, and evil also insinuates that there's. I always hate breaking things down to just
not seeing wrong.
Yeah,
I mean that the wrongness in finding the areas where people are seeing wrongness and seeing judgment on both sides, not necessarily evil or that they are wrong, but that they are seeing wrongness and getting rid of that. And that's where all of the terror of recent we've seen is people that are seeing wrongness in others and getting rid of that judgment, that fear,
and living in the extremes
and hate. Yes.
And that's the thing is we just as humans, like we're not intended to exist in the polarities. We're not, whether it's far right, far left, far up, far down, like that's, again, finding the balance and finding that harmony instead of the polarization. We're not intended to be constantly wound up and hating each other. It's exhausting. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you have anything to say as we're wrapping this up?
I think that it comes a lot in my film. Like we see Ava and Kiv And Kiv's going towards the light side because he's been grown up to be like, you know, there's only a right and a wrong. You can't just do that. You can't just go out and kill people. And Ava's like, yes, well, you can't just kill people just for the heck of it. But, you know, if it's in defense of your family, if it's for a greater good, you know, I have to do this and make that sacrifice. And Kiv definitely fears Ava because she's so much more powerful than him. And, you know, it's just like once we stop seeing each other as enemies, once we stop fearing each other, that's when we can actually have peace and resolve our conflicts.
I think that's a beautiful way to wrap it up right there.
What you need to do is, instead of using the left or the right, find the heart in the center.
Yeah. You're listening to Comic.Church on K-Talk AM 1640. Real local two-way talk. We'll be back next week. Thanks for listening.
Enough said.
Hey there, Comic.Church fans and K-Talk listeners. You can now listen to our show, Comic.Church, on your favorite podcasting platform just by searching for our show, Comic.Church. And the best part about podcasts, we edit out the commercials, so it's commercial free. Subscribe to Comic.Church podcast today. It's a good thing. When the weather's nice outside and you're not in your car or near your radio, don't worry. You can take K-Talk Radio with you on the go by using TuneIn Radio. Just search K-Talk or visit ktalkmedia.com to find out more ways that you can listen on the go. K-Talk, real, local, two-way talk, wherever you go.
You're listening to the all-new K-Talk Media, KBJA 1640 AM, Sandy, Salt Lake, and the entire Wasatch Front, bringing you live, local two-way talk.